welcome to the RTO Show. I'm your host, Pete Shau, along with the producer, my man Anthony over there. And today we got something perfect lined up for you guys, but I want to take care of some stuff first. Listen, I want to dive right into what we got going on, but first you've got to subscribe to the show. You guys do not want to miss out, and listen, help somebody out. We are growing the show, and with your help, we can get it over the next level. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that every time something comes out, you guys get notified. Also, talking about notifications, the newsletter is out. It was going to be once a month. You know what? I didn't think that was enough. It's actually going to be twice a month. You're going to get it the 1st and the 15th. All you've got to do is go to the podcast website at the rtoshowpodcast.com. Scroll down just a little bit. Put your name, put your email in there, and you guys are going to get the best information that our town has. And last but not least, I want you guys to know there are some sponsorship spots open. You guys are what helps keep this podcast open so that we can bring things like you and me, the information coming from our guest today. We're talking to Michael Costa all the way from AMPTAB in California, which is amazing because it looks nice and sunny out there. Looks great. You guys having some good weather?
Oh, as good as it can be, yeah. And I expect it to get even warmer.
Well, that's what we have in common. This is getting hot over here. Michael, I appreciate you being on the show. Listen, big fan of AMPTAB, but there was a lot of things as I was going into this, as I was trying to do my research and getting ready for this, there was so much that I didn't know. Now, a lot of RTO dealers actually use AMPTAB to buy some of the product and supplies that they have to get things going. Now, in that regard, I want you to explain it to me a little bit. First off, Patrick Henley decides to make this a couple years ago, and then it grows and grows and grows. And now you have a lot of products out there, but we only use the AMPTAB. So we're going to talk about the RTO section first. But how did the idea first come up? And then where did you come into AMPTAB to kind of help support that?
Yeah, the company started, I want to say 13, 14 years ago, with the early research. And I only know this from retellings of the story. Of course, I wasn't there. Patrick found an industry that was lagging behind in technology, this manufacturing sales industry for the all-in-home space. So your case goods, your upholstery, rugs, lamps, what have you. And they have a sales force that travels the country, visits retail stores. And at the time, they were just pulling out these paper catalogs. And these reps would represent several brands. So if you can imagine a dozen or so paper catalogs, multiplied by several, markets over the year. And the problem with paper, besides it's heavy and takes up space, is it's static, right? So if there's price fluctuations, inventory information is not there, these reps would have to call into the office just to get an order through. So that the solution at the time was, hey, let's digitize this process. Let's make a website. Well, to AMP's luck, Apple released the first iPad at the same time. So AMP jumped in, was like, let's make an iPad app. This is perfect. We'll put this trunk full of paper catalogs into an iPad in the rep's hands. And that's where we started. That's where we kind of got our foothold into vendors selling all this furniture. And then it expanded into RTO, where we learned a ton about retail, working with the RTO side.
So for folks that have never really seen it, how would you describe AMPTAB in like one sentence, one summary to say this is what it is?
Yeah, it's a sales platform that helps companies gather all their sales materials into one location, whether that's documents or photography and videos, general product romance like descriptive language. And it helps sales reps generate presentations and write orders and quotes offline. So using the iPad app, they don't have to worry about internet connection. And then that, easily translated over to a website for dealers to access that same catalog so they can have the same in-sync conversation with their sales rep, looking at the same catalog for their orders.
So I'm kind of curious. Let's say that you come to me, we're talking about this. I think AMPTAB is a great idea. I sell furniture. So I want to sell some furniture on your AMPTAB, and I would think that'd be a great idea. But now maybe Ashley's on there, maybe Haverty's is on there, maybe somebody else is on there. Why would I want to advertise with that if you're going to put my product right next to somebody else's product and introduce us in the same light? I would think, the thought process is, okay, maybe my guys are going out there with some paper, and trust me, I get it. That's a little bit archaic, but at the same time, they're only representing one brand. If I have somebody that has an AMPTAB, but I'm selling it to dealers are going to see the 3 of lineup or 20 lineup of furniture, case goods, whatever the case is. And now they kind of get to pick and choose. what makes AMPTAB enticing so that I could say, hey, you want to be on this platform along with these other furniture dealers because?
Oh, believe me, we've heard that question many times, and we have different metaphors. Patrick, our CEO, would like to say, this big market everyone goes to in High Point, which folks are at right now in North Carolina. It's an equivalent to that. Dealers are visiting these markets, these trade shows. They're headed towards their appointments to look at new furniture. Well, they're going to pass a dozen other companies along the way, right? So that's the general idea, is this AMP marketplace. But we have other solutions as well. We've built private lobbies in the past where, hey, only your dealers will see your offering when you invite them, as opposed to the entire lobby. But we're very, what would you say, agnostic to brand. We just want to help people connect. That's our real value, is this networking effect. We don't charge for headcount. We don't charge for buyers to log in. We just want to make it as useful as a platform as we can by introducing folks, passive leads through connecting vendors.
Something that you had said just a little while ago is that you weren't there in the beginning. You've come along since then. Doing a little search, I see a lot of different hats that you had along the way, and I don't know if that's right, because I see customer support, I see the director of customer access, I see VP of continuous improvement. Was that like this trajectory going up and going in and kind of getting deeper into the system as you came along?
It was. It's maybe my secret sauce is I'm just the guy who says yes all the time. And I come from a startup background where I'm used to wearing as many hats as possible. It's more about what's the challenge today and what
sounds
creative
familiar, huh? Yeah, I think my producer's like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about over there. Yeah.
I'm not big on titles. I think, most of the time they're made up. It's just, it kind of represents how much experience you may have had along the way. But we all have the same goal in my regard, as far as helping the customer with what the new question is, right? Like, hey, we're here to sell. How can you help us sell? And that's what we do here.
So at one point in time, AMPTAB I know you as AMPTAB. What is the actual name of the mother company for this? Because I know AMPTAB is probably one part of it versus the entire. And I know that I'll get into a little bit more because I see AMP Sell, AMP Shop, AMP Sites, AMP Press, AMP Avenue, and AMP API. What is the actual name that I could reference that would mean all of that?
The technical name is AMP Tablet Solutions. We prefer to shorten it to just AMP. And that's because we launched with the iPad app, right? Tablet, AMP Tablet. And all those various names references the new products we've developed along the way. So AMP Shop is the B2B website. AMP Press is our print generator. AMP Sites is a public website. And they all feed from the same data, which is kind of our golden ROI, is you upload your data once and you get 6 different outputs for all these different use cases.
Well, I mean, it sounds good. I was actually named the best technology provider by Furniture Today readers, which was awesome. But when I look at that and I'm trying to dial myself into the RTO space and what it does, I know that we use AMPTAB. There are people that, they put their product on there, and as dealers, they go in, select, get it purchased, and then have it come in. Is there any of these products that would actually mean anything to the rent-own industry that they might want to get involved with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the product they'd be most familiar with is AMP Shop. That's the B2B website. An extension of that is actually a product not even named on the website, is our retail order workflow. So we have several RTO retail chains that also pay for an AMP subscription for a curated single catalog in AMP. So instead of shopping 20 different vendors at a time, you shop a branded singular catalog that has all the vendors mixed together. These retailers are able to install order writing rules and approval steps. And once the order is placed, it sends its way over to the vendor in AMP. So that's a curated retail experience. Beyond that, AMP Avenue is a kiosk designed for retail stores. So if you like what you see on AMP Shop, there's a consumer-friendly version you can put on a touchscreen in your store.
Help me out, because with the way you said it, AMP Shop, and I just want to make sure that I understand it. When you say, you're not going to brand specific, so does that mean that my scooter might end up next to another scooter and we are completely different? We are competing brands, but you wouldn't know that. Basically, it's whatever scooter that they like the most. There's going to be 5 there. It could be from 5 different brands. I'm going to select that.
Yeah.
So for lack of a better term, it looks like a Walmart website, right? There's really not the branding. It's like I look in for a scooter and it gives me whatever comes up available. What advantage is that for if I'm trying to sell my product? It's great for an RTO dealer, right? I agree that when you're looking at it that way and they're looking for a specific product, it helps them dial in a lot quicker and find out what they need from multiple areas and make their own choice. As a vendor, though, what is the advantage of that?
Yeah, it's a fair question because it's kind of that unspoken rule. We like to pretend nobody's shopping around, but we all know we do, right? So it's really, it's an opportunity. Hey, your competition is offering their products to your buyer. You need to be right there, lockstep with them, and then compete in other ways. Compete with better data. Compete with more reliable data. Hey, we have inventory updated every hour. We're competing on prices in your area or shipping. I understand, the hesitation of why would I want to show my product next to my competitor? It's already happening. We just don't like to talk about it.
So in other words, I can look at yours, then go to another website, then go to another website. And what you're saying is instead of shopping all the way around, let me give you an outlook. And then what really is saying is, let your product speak for itself.
Exactly. And furthermore, that's the initial value prop AMP came into the market with, is we heard a bunch of frustration from the buyers that they've got 20 different logins to try and do their sourcing for their stores, different websites to navigate. I can't remember my password. And if I'm giving my store managers the same list of passwords and turnover and all that, it was just a headache. So AMP's value was, we're going to give you one login to see all of your vendors in the same website layout. And now we just made it even more convenient.
Buying simplicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, I see 60 plus vendor catalogs available through AMP Avenue. How does a vendor get into that catalog? What does that relationship look like?
Yeah, it is a B2B, a private B2B website, for lack of a better term. And it just starts with a vendor, a singular vendor on the AMP platform, listing your email address as an authorized buyer. As soon as your email address is listed as an approved buyer, you'll receive your login credentials from AMP, and then you'll be able to browse the other participating vendors for free and ask for permission to see those catalogs as well. So we don't, AMP's not interested in charging buyers to participate. You just need to be an email listed on someone's customer list.
We're going to do that, Anthony. We're going to put you on AMPTAB and see if we put you against some other producers and see if they like you the most. You better smile if we put you on there.
Hey, I'm confident.
There we go. There we go. So AMP Avenue supports both retail and RTO pricing models. How does an RTO dealer benefit from being with everybody else in these situations, like retail and RTO? Now, RTO in those situations, and we're just being honest with the RTO brands, we are not retail driven, right? We have cash prices because you can go in and do that, but we're not also going to beat the Walmarts and the Targets and, the CVS is on the corner. They have pricing because their model is to retail as fast as they possibly can. Their margins are way lower because they're going by volume, where an RTO dealer is going to be absolutely opposite. If you're talking about a retail transaction, yes, I could probably sell it to you. And there might be times that I can actually get you a good deal, but the truth is that's not our model. Our model is free delivery, no credit checks. We can service it. And that's why the pricing is a little bit different, because if I'm going to add delivery, I've got labor, time, truck. I've got to bring it in, set it up, put it on the floor. Those are costs that they're not doing. They're taking it in the package, throwing it on a shelf, and then if you want it, you have to pick it up and take it to a kiosk where nobody's saying, how are you doing today, right? So what's the advantage of having an RTO dealer and a retail dealer is all in that same idea? And again, you're educating me, but I'm just looking at it from the RTO standpoint going, where is the plus side of that? And how does it work out for AMPTAB and the RTO dealers?
Sure. Yeah. There's certainly nuance between the two using our software. I'd say for RTO, we actually designed a lot of the kiosk alongside Countryside. Countryside was our first beta partner with the kiosk, and they gave a lot of great insight. They used it more internally. They actually integrated their POS system with the kiosk so that they could check the inventory levels across their stores. So they used it for employees to see, okay, yes, we have inventory, we can move around. I need this over at my location. And then, I can also see the vendor inventory. So if we're out of stock across the board, I can now turn around and place a special order.
Hi, I'm Pete Shau. You may know me from the RTO Show podcast, but today I'm doing something a little bit different. APRO and Wow Brands have launched a special project to bring the story of our industry to life like never before. They've asked me to sit down with some of the true legends of rent-to-own, capturing their stories, their impact, and their vision for the future. And now, I get to share those conversations with you straight from the legends themselves. All of this leads to something groundbreaking, though. A new book, The Rent-to-Own Revolution, A Definitive History of Advocacy and Consumer Access, written by APRO CEO Charles Smitherman and Wow Brands CEO Brian Krass. The book explores the grassroots of RTO, the advocacy that has defined it, and the future that we're building together. Here's where you come in. We're giving away free copies once the book is released. Just head over to the RTORevolution.com and sign up for a chance to receive a copy in early 2026. Don't miss the chance to be among the first to hold this piece of RTO history. That's RTORevolution.com. Check it out and become a part of RTO history.
Directly with the vendor. So it was more of a, for their particular use case, just for the store managers, but they could flip the screen around and show just the product information. Here's what the special order, here's all the photos for that product, dimensions, and all the information you need to know. If they want to apply a markup, here's our weekly rates, they could do that as well. And any other information they could append to that product data.
So just so that I'm clear, when you say Countryside, we're talking about Countryside Rentals that's doing business as a rent-to-own in the Ohio area, Mike Tissett's group.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because they're great. I mean, they're pretty successful. They know how to do rent-to-own pretty darn well. So it's nice to see that they're doing that right. Mike, I'm looking at you. I know you're doing a great job. But, it is a different way to use it. I never really thought about it like that. And I think that's why they're pretty cutting edge, because they have the ability to kind of think forward like that. So I like that idea. Okay. I like that. Now let's talk RTO specifically. How did rent-to-own get AMPTAB? How did AMPTAB find rent-to-own? I mean, you're talking about 15 years ago. There was we were different back then. And I know that we don't have the digital footprint we probably want yet, but we're definitely going in that direction. When you say those many years ago, we really weren't online like we should have been. How did AMPTAB either change that or see that as we could help you, this is how we're going to do it?
Yeah. Again, I wasn't there, but from, attending those trade shows, the story I hear, Mark Williams was like the point man, to be honest.
Okay.
Him and Patrick paired up. Mark expressed his frustration with all those logins we talked about. I was like, hey, I'm having, I'm not getting any sleep trying to navigate how to
I'm having buying anxiety. I just want to get it bought and done. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to log into Amazon 3 times. Okay. I just want to get it done. I totally understand that. I really do.
Yeah. So Patrick simply pitched to Mark, hey, if we work together, get all the vendors you care to source from onto one site, is that interesting for you? And he said, yeah. And they, Rent One was monumental in getting the name of AMP out there. We could probably thank a lot of the networking to those early days with Rent One and Countryside. And
two very big dealers. I agree. Like two very big dealers in the RTO space. You probably picked some of the best to get that done.
Yeah. And when I came on board, I had kind of mixed feelings about it. I went to my first RTO trade show, and as a new employee, my task was, and I know you've been to these shows quite a bit, was to go and slap these AMP stickers on every vendor that was on our platform. And I stopped and looked around, and it was like the entire floor is green. It's like I felt like I missed the boat. It's like, oh, we've already done it. I wasn't part of that initial networking. So I think Patrick and Jesse did great on the AMP side, but really a lot of credit goes towards Rent One and Countryside, getting excitement from the vendors to get everybody on board for the platform.
So talking about coming up through the ranks and through the things, you've seen it, change from then to now through either stories or when you did come on to now. AMPTAB came on, and what we would use it for is to kind of look up. We would go to, either O'Rourke, we would go to Ashley, whatever the case is. We would, whenever they were on, whoever's on at that time, we take a look, we get it ordered. What's different between the AMPTAB that when I started, looking at it 10, 12, whatever years ago versus the one now? Why would somebody say, okay, that's still the place to go? It's still where I want to get the product in and ordered through. Like, what changes have happened in the last 10 years where you can say this, and this is making us the place to go at the moment?
Yeah. the journey, I was there for this, the evolution. I
he
saw,
does know. I saw this. I did this.
I saw probably what you saw 12 years ago when I first started. I was like, okay, I get it. Everyone has, a unique catalog to shop from. As long as you have a buyer login, you can access these companies separately. And we were like, how do we expand AMP further into retail? Our first thought was the kiosk. There was another company out there, WonderSign. I think they're called Wonder now, doing kiosks. I was like, that's a great idea. Does AMP have a version of this? So we started to design the kiosk, and then just because of how problem solving goes, we were like, okay, we have a kiosk, but now we need to get all the vendors in one place, right? We have separate catalogs right now. How do we get into an individual catalog? So we designed what we called an AMP feed, which makes a universal template for the data, has all the taxonomy lineup. We created garbage mapping. So if you call it dining rooms and over here you call it dining sets, we can call it the same thing, the dining area, right? So getting the vendors on the same taxonomy for filtering was huge. Getting all of the vendors' data to line up in the same square, as it were, for the product layout for dimensions and whatnot, into one catalog was a big evolution. And then working with like Chip Guy was monumental for order workflow stuff. So we built this one big catalog that's got 30,000 SKUs in it now. That's a different challenge on approving orders and slowing down the stores who got excited, like, oh, I'm Amazon shopping now, right? In AMP. So setting up approval rules. As soon as you place an order, it's going to go to your regional manager. As soon as the regional manager approves it, it's going to go to the CSR at the home office to create a PO. And as soon as it has a PO, it'll go to the head decision maker. They hit the go button, it'll go to the vendor. So really locking down the order approval process where minimums are now respected. We have store budget tracking now. So the store can see, oh, I've spent my allotment for the month or whatnot. So just a lot of feedback, a lot of iterations to be sure the orders that are sent from the store to the home office and then to the vendor are accurate and they can act on them.
We put that in there, Anthony. We're going to stop you can't buy it anymore. We need to put that on there. You were banned from buying. So here's the deal, man. You're talking about some names that I've worked with. I love Casper Fopp. He's a great guy. He was on the show. I love what he does. Have you ever thought about working? And I don't know if this is, are they like considered competition? Is WonderSign considered competition, or is it something that, hey, they already have the WonderSigns in the store. Do you mind putting AMPTAB on it? Or is it, no, that's like, I'm going to go to, Apple and say, I'm going to put an Android app on there. Like, nah, you ain't doing that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we're not directly competing just because of how we've handled our business models. Our kiosk is a website you can put on any device. So you can throw it on your laptop, you can put it on a TV. I believe, if I'm right, WonderSign was more interested in pairing it with the hardware itself. And there were like long-term contracts associated to the actual screen. And they locked it down in that regard. We just saw it as an extension of our platform we already had. Like, hey, you got a website with us. It's free. Do you want to also have that same catalog look like a touch screen that you can go up and peruse with your customer? And then for the RTO specifically, if you want to, have a curated RTO experience, it's just using our same technology in a different way. So we weren't really, at least in my mind, we weren't competing directly with WonderSign.
Yeah. Well, it again, like you said, mentioning names, I actually worked with Chip Guy for a couple of years just very recently. So it's nice to know that he was a part of that situation and helped you out as much as he could. But, I'm curious. AMPTAB describes itself as like this omni-channel platform from an RTO dealer who's, basically, let's say running one store out of a spreadsheet. What does getting started with AMPTAB actually look like? And what is the learning curve, right? I started this up. I've been doing rent-to-own my whole life, but I've got one store. I'm literally having to go from management to learning how to do the back end, which is not an easy feat, right? So now somebody says, and I'm just throwing a name out there, but Mike calls me up, says, I'm from AMPTAB and you should be on there because I have one login instead of 30. And somebody goes, that's a great idea. What does it take to get to be on AMPTAB, and then what kind of learning curve is from that moment?
The learning curve is different depending on who you are, as far as retail or the vendor or RTO. Our general onboardings are about 2 weeks to 6 weeks, and that's just how fancy do you want to be. Do you want to set up integrations with your ERP system? Then that may extend that timeline. For a vendor, it can be as simple as taking a spreadsheet in Excel and hitting upload, and you've got your products listed on the website. For a retailer, we don't want you to do any work if we can help it. We want you to tell us the rules. Like, here's our markup. Here's my filtering. I don't want to see any products above $1,000. I don't want to see lamps from this particular company, or this vendor should only be shown to stores in Texas. Like, we can build formulas for you so that all you have to do is log in and see the products you care to see. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go into the data and play around. All the names I've mentioned and more, they like to do that. They like to handpick products they want to promote.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it for sure.
But I believe I built a culture here at AMP that we lead first with customer support. So if we're not giving you quick solutions, workarounds, or training on the spot, then we're kind of failing at our job. We don't want you to feel like, okay, you bought the product, good luck. That doesn't exist here at AMP.
So somebody comes in, they get it. You tell them we're going to walk you through the process, going to make it a little bit easier. Once we get all dialed in, it's going to be easier ordering. What does it take to get AMPTAB? Is it a one-time I bought in and I get to use this for the year, 10 years? I got a monthly subscription. Like, how does it work to stay dialed in and have somebody come to you and say, hey, I'm going to sit with you for a couple of weeks? Is it a down payment up front to cover those costs and then a lower subscription monthly or something like? How does that work?
We have a couple different approaches depending on your goal. We don't do any contracts, and we do have a setup fee, but that's related to how complex do you need this to be. And I'm talking more specifically towards our vendors. We want exclusive products per customer, per price, which we support, but that takes coding to do. So you're employing an engineer to do that during onboarding, essentially. For the retailer, it's pretty low. It's about $100 a month per store. And you can start and stop anytime. You could pay up front for a slight discount. If you want to pay for the year, great. But if you just want to go month to month, that's fine with us too.
Okay. I mean, it's just a question I have because I know that some dealers have, by the time they finally get to own their store, they've been in the game for a while. And listen, I have some people that I know that can go to ChatGPT on their phone and get things done within 20 seconds. And I know guys who are still looking for the yellow pages when they dial somebody on their rotary phone. It's not the same. They're just not built the same, man. I'm telling you, man, it's not the same. So, I was looking at it and it said something about like this dial-in ability. There is, on one SKU, there's almost 55 million possible combinations to make that, right? So how does it actually fit an RTO dealer on the floor with a customer in front of them? How does it not get overwhelming, right? So, you want to have the right things for the right people, but when you have somebody that can change the fabric and the height and, maybe a couple of options, now I'm trying to show them on my tablet and we are getting paralysis by analysis. And all I want them to do is order the product. How do you fight that when you have somebody coming in and wanting something now, but you can literally tailor this 55 million ways? How does that work?
Yeah, that I believe what you're touching on are kind of a subset of our vendors that do made to order. And that 55 million example, that's one of our higher end. I believe that comes from Moss Studio, where they're very like nice pillows, like $500 pillows is the kind of.
It's a pillow,
category.
Anthony. It's a pillow for $500. I just want you to know that you're not getting the whole sofa. You're getting
the best pillow ever made.
That's a super ergonomic pillow. I can tell you right now. I want to see it. I don't want to look at it too long because it might charge me. I just want to see it one good time. Flash the picture one time. It just sounds expensive. Okay, so then really those options are for people who are really dialed in at a really high level. So somebody in RTO level is not really going to see that much. So we're not going to have that much interaction as far as through AMPTAB with somebody that's coming in, and we lose them to going, I don't know which one I want because you have 75 options, and I think I'm just going to go home and think about it.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've worked with all of our RTO dealers in AMP as far as the chains are concerned, and their catalogs are very curated. The vendor sets the special SKUs to the side. So you wouldn't see anything as complex as the Moss Studio pillow. It just it doesn't make sense for that sector, right? And more so, I've learned in the RTO space, it's more common to have set SKUs where, like, a buy all button. Hey, this is the best package designed for a store like yours. So trying to remove that paralysis of, I don't know, does this thing go with this thing? Part of the same collection? I guess it does. Yep, you hit this button, it'll include the table and the 4 chairs. You're good to go.
Nice. A question that I have, because, again, we're going to go back to this, but, AMP integrates with quite a few programs, right? I've seen QuickBooks, I've seen NetSuite, I've seen Freedom, and, probably a dozen other ones. Mm-hmm. My concern is for some of the RTO guys, and we talked about it just now a couple minutes ago, some of them are a little bit dated in what they have. They're okay. I'm not going to fix it because it's not broken. And some of the RTO dealers that are running out there, they have a little bit of older software, some back office software that's not up to date. How does AMP plug into what they already have?
Yeah, we're pretty simplistic, to be honest, in that regard. We only have a couple options. And it gives you the most simple version of it, which is if you hit this special link, it'll download an Excel file. So if your program can import an Excel file on your end and vice versa, then you're good to go. Some folks that want to have a more sophisticated connection, they can do that. But it all happens outside of AMP. So it really, we offer free consultation. We have an on-staff integration engineer, Stanley, that we pair you up with him. He's worked with all of our clients that are interested in integration for the last 7 years. So he's been around the block as far as that connection is concerned.
Stanley, we called you out. We're going to give you a call now. Just want you to know, by the end of the show, we're going to put your number out on the thing, and we're going to get calls directly to you.
We're not paying overtime, Stanley. Sorry.
Turn your phone off. But so more than likely, then basically it's something that's configured outside of the computer software that they're in. And then as they pull it in, it's already there. It's not something that has to build inside their back. I want to say, a program in the back door, it's kind of sitting back there off in the side, and you got one program here, and that one's just eating up your RAM and your memory in the back. And it's like, oh my God, this is killing me. This is something that when you get into it, it's already configured, ready to go. And the dealer doesn't have to kind of worry about whether it's new software. I'm still running Windows 7. It should still come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the most common way I've heard it introduced to folks is, can your current program generate a report? And can your current ERP system import an Excel file? So if you can do those two things, we offer you can think of like an email inbox. We offer the inbox for you to email, and we can send you back an email on your end. So hopefully it works with their system. But again, we always have that free consultation.
Simplistic terms. I like that. Talking about simplistic is the pendulum has swung. We're going from people who have Windows 7 when we're talking about AI is on the scene. It is everywhere. It's literally on my phone. If it ever took over, Skynet would kill me first. But, now that it's on the scene, is AMP doing anything with AI? Is it integrating? Is it part of the system? Or is there a plan to introduce that to AMPTAB and all of the, programs that you offer?
There's nothing officially in our pipeline today. It is something I know our engineers have been playing with as an aid in their day-to-day work. And it is something we've kind of whiteboarded or playing with, enhancing product romance and searches using AI. Like if we have an AI that can read all of your data locally in your catalog, hey, I'm looking for a red chair that looks like it belongs in a cottage, right? It can help narrow down your data using those more descriptive searches. And other use cases like that. I don't think we're going to enter a space where AI takes over the program. It'll be more of a aid to the user for things they could be typing and manually looking for.
So a powered search, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. Now I'm going to go on AMPTAB and it's going to do like the Gemini does. It pops up and tries to squeeze into my answers. Like, dude, I didn't ask that. So Technology adoption in the RTO industry has traditionally been a little bit slower than it should be. I'm not going to lie. I definitely feel that in a lot of regards. Slower than mainstream retail anyways. From where you sit, working with dealers every day, is that changing? Are you seeing that change now? Like, hey, we have come so far off the beaten path that we actually have to upgrade. We have to get better at what we do, or you come across Windows 7s every day?
It's funny. I kind of always saw the RTO space as more aggressive compared to our wholesale side of the business, where they're looking for, where can I get my advantage today? And maybe that's just approach or that's, negotiating differently. And as far as all of our clients, a theme I've seen is more comfort around that API integration we were just discussing, where they want to connect. They want their ERP system, their QuickBooks connected to AMP, so that the moment they update a price in QuickBooks, it updates in AMP. And the moment somebody places an order in AMP, it arrives in QuickBooks. Because, along with this surge in AI is this surge for real-time updates, which is only as real-time as the update is, right? As opposed to waiting for somebody to go into a spreadsheet or manually type in their updates. They just want all their systems talking, so that when the buyer hits that place order button, it's against an inventory quantity that exists this second as opposed to last week, right? And when I started with AMP, nobody was talking about integration. Nobody. You might have your high-end brand like Costa of America is like, yeah, we have 8 warehouses to manage. We have to be integrated. But beyond that, it was too much of a scary word. It meant we're going to hire some specialist for $30,000 to design this integration. That's just not needed anymore. And more, the trend is headed towards real-time data, and that's only possible with that connection.
Yeah. I mean, some of these guys into their effort is like, hey, I've got this program. It doesn't need to do any more. It does exactly what I need it to do. It gives me the reports that I need. I can take care of payroll and everything. I can order what I need to. What's the point in getting something new and shiny if this has been doing me so good for so long, and I know every aspect of this program from beginning to end, right? So, I don't know if that's the reason why sometimes the adoption takes a little bit longer. It's like there's no reason, right? My truck's got 150,000 miles. It's going to go for another 150. Ain't no reason to buy anything else. So, I definitely understand it from both sides of the ball game. I read, and I don't know, you tell me, I read that AMPTAB actually doesn't have a huge, there's not like 100,000 people sitting around anywhere, and everybody's going to get laid off in the next couple of days. Like, it's a small crew. You guys are tight knit. You keep everything everybody's working full time, 100%, but it's not like there's 1,000 people working for you. There's actually a relatively small number.
Yeah.
How does that number factor into the fact that if you're growing or if things are happening, how do you scale that if you have a very tight crew?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are a tight crew. We fluctuate around 15 people, which surprises most. And it's just the nature of software. We don't have to worry about warehouses. We don't have to worry about physical products. We just have to be able to handle the inbound, right? And at this point, we're all experts in our field. Our tight-knit crew has been around 6+ years, if not longer, right? So we will grow when we reach a certain breaking point, as it were, with we've got too many clients with too many questions that we need to
That's a good problem, Anthony. I got too many people here, and I need more. Totally understand that. I totally understand that. The RTO industry right now is dealing with some scrutiny in some different areas, some different states, like New York and stuff like that. Also, the buy now, pay later market is kind of dealing with some stuff and some lease to own options. Does that affect AMPTAB in any way? Does that, are you in those markets, and does it affect it as you're in them, and what's going on?
It doesn't affect us directly. But any disturbance in the force trickles its way over to AMP, whether it's tariff talks or backed up containers across the sea there. If our clients are having trouble doing business, software notoriously is the easiest thing to cut back on, right? It's like, oh, it's a subscription. We can hit pause on it, or we'll come back later, or we'll start doing things on paper again, right? So we are very sensitive to any negative changes in our clients' industries. We built pretty goodwill during the COVID years, where we muted people's billings for a couple months. We're like, we understand things are hard. We can stomach no revenue coming in for a stretch, just so that you guys can get organized during uncertain times. And that's something I know there's a ton of people out there know that they can reach out to me directly to my cell phone and be like, hey, is there something we can work out during this time period? And more often than not, it's yes, we will work with you.
Well, I definitely have a love-hate relationship with my Netflix bill. We have separated a couple of times, but we seem to manage to get back together all the time. So I definitely understand. It's actually nice to hear that you were able to do that for some people, because I can tell you right now, we went through it during those COVID years. There was a lot going on, we came out of it really, really well. And then we're paying, I think everybody's paying the price for everything. It's more money flow, and all of a sudden everything just starts changing. And I don't even want to talk about gas prices.
Then a roller coaster for sure.
Oh my goodness. It. Are there any product categories and vendor relationships that you're working to bring to the platform that RTO dealers specifically have been asking for that aren't currently on there now?
Not that I'm aware of. Do you have any secrets?
Well, the reason I'm asking you is because I'm trying to find the next big thing right now that I feel like we've taken a slowdown, right? So going into it used to be every year you would have a shiny new Elmo, or there was something that was going on. And, in the past few years, it was laptops, then it was game systems, then it was, the
PS5
and the PS5s. And there is no new PS5 that's going to be in a decent realm, right? They're talking about the new PS5s hitting 4 figures. They're talking about the new Xboxes hitting 4 figures. Even the Nintendo came with a price increase, whether it was from tariffs or they want to make the new chips, they want to make it, integratable, whatever the case is. Stream is getting there, but it's not as prevalent as we would like to. So Steambox and all those, we had a time when the bicycles came in, the e-bikes and the scooters. That was a thing. These past 2 years, I haven't seen the new shiny toy. Even the new gaming rigs that came in, and they're coming in with bigger screens, and they're coming with more memory, and the video card is absolutely amazing. And, it's got SSD and, and then it goes into the NVMe. I haven't seen anything, right? It's either you have something that just has a little bit more tweaking on the specs, or you got what you got. Now, listen, I would love to say that all those were in the furniture related business, but I mean, nowadays there's a tablet on your refrigerator and you can Bluetooth to your washer and dryer. That's probably the extent of what I've seen that is really changing. I mean, I think the only big great thing I've seen is that some people can do their washing and their drying in the same appliance. It's a great space saver, but I haven't exactly had to hold my doors back from that. And I'm wondering, with all these innovations that have come up in these last 12 months, I haven't seen anything that's coming down the pipe where I'm going, that's what we need to have. And I'm curious, is there anything that the dealers are saying, hey, this looks like it's coming down the pipe. Are you guys going to get this? Is this something that's going to be integrated into my purchasing portal so that I can buy this? Or are you just looking at it like we are going, I don't know what it is?
Yeah, I share the same perspective. I feel like everyone's been holding their breath for the last 2 years, making safe purchases. Vendors are producing a lot of very typical type of SKUs, like the safe sofa.
The safe bet. I think that's what he's saying, Anthony. They're going with the safe bet right now.
Like, people will order 100 of these. It's not too outrageous, so we'll lean into that production. There was definitely a shift on the buying side of, I'm not looking for anything unique or outrageous. I just need what's in stock. So there's a huge shift into what is the inventory levels. What can I get in my stores in the next week or two, rather than what's going to be the exciting product that may drive new business, right? And as far as technology, there's this whole, everything's getting AI in the name of it, right? This is now headphones with AI. Don't really explain what the AI does, but it's got an AI chip in it, and we can raise
it. Talks in your ear. Right. Because I think what I've seen is truly the next new shiny toy is something that's cheaper than it was. It's going back for a few years and dialing back the price a little bit. That's what I've seen it to be. Like, everything has gone up. And whether it's, gas that makes the delivery charges a little bit more, whether it's coming across the water, the prices on that are just getting a little bit higher, whether it's a tariff here or a tariff there, or, it can't make it through this area because of whatever's going on,
Yeah.
as you look at it, my idea is what I've seen is I just think everybody's looking for a break, not necessarily a new toy, but listen, if I can get you that product for a couple dollars cheaper because we were able to make that happen, it gets a little easier. I think the problem is I don't think anybody has that silver bullet in their gun just yet. And I don't know if we're going to bring manufacturing back into the States, I don't know if that's ever going to change the price. It might change the availability, but I mean, we build it probably more expensive than anybody else. So hopefully it lasts, but I don't think that's going to solve the problem of the dollar bill. And so, I think that's something that a lot of dealers are looking for is like, hey, if it is going to be something that you have on your lineup, what's the best deal? Now, I don't know if you can go in there and say, hey, find me the cheapest washer and dryer or the most economical set that makes sense as a group. But, that's what I'm thinking. Hey everyone, it's Pete Shau here from the RTO Show Podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too. I mean, in your opinion, 5 years from now, what does the ideal RTO store look like through the lens of AMPTAB? Where do you guys integrate? Where are you guys going to be on a store level in 5 years?
Well, I know what we are aiming to do. So there's the big dream of it is to be vertically integrated from top to bottom. And, going one direction, that means we're connected not only to the manufacturer, but also the factory. So they're keeping track of their parts. And as soon as orders come through, it's sending notification to the factory. On the opposite end of that spectrum is we're connected to the consumer side. So if they bring in a product to their home, how do we connect you for support from that store? If you're doing some kind of return or refund or even recycling, helping manage that information. And a lot of that starts with our next big project, which is redesigning our web tools. So a new website designed specifically for the buyer. With new technology that's geared towards promotion for marketing, highlighting anything like discount codes to entice shopping and drive that interaction further. And we're lucky enough that we're already on mobile devices, thanks to our iPad app, but extending that to your phone as well. So taking that new website, making it mobile friendly, and having that information on the go in your pocket. So once we do that in the retail store, you could have retail associates walking around, whether that's on their phone or on an iPad, having all those same powerful tools at their fingertips.
So there's something that I want to know. Okay. This relates to you directly. If you had a magic wand and you can say, this is what I would like to see either from the RTO side or from the AMP side. So let's say, I would love to be, Joe Rogan right now. And if I can wave that magic wand, make that happen, right? As Michael Costa, if you had this ability, you had one wave with this magical pen, and you could do either something in the RTO side that would help benefit either you or them or both, or AMPTAB side. And you said, you know what? I have this idea. The guys won't, they ain't listening to me. But no, I'm being facetious. But what would that be? Do you have is there something that goes across your mind? Say, you know what? This is something I would love to see come into what we do within the next 2, 3, 4 years.
It would circle around data. And maybe that's the nerdy side of me, but our program is only as good as the data you put into it. It's an empty canvas. It's just a bunch of empty boxes until a vendor uploads that spreadsheet. And the quality of that data is so massively important for the buyer, right? If you're not standing next to them, then they have to educate themselves on that buying decision with what's in front of them on the screen. And when you get into a space where you're shopping from a mixed catalog, like on Amazon, and you were to search for, My Little Pony lunchboxes, and then a bunch of these other items show up that are unrelated to your search, that's a problem. And that's a problem that exists for Amazon today. So if I could wave a magic wand and make something better, it's to create a AMP taxonomy that is enforced across the board, across all our vendors, so that it doesn't matter who you're shopping with, you're going to get the right results when you search and filter. And just product romance and descriptions and volumes and everything you need across the board.
You talk about Amazon a lot. That is a good reference point. I got a suggestion, Anthony. You imagine that? I got a suggestion. My suggestion would be take it or leave it. But if you do it, you have to somehow put on like the RTO Show suggestion box here. They're the ones that created this. What I think would be great on AMPTAB is, if every time I go into an Amazon box, and this could be good or bad. I don't even know if this is good or bad. Every time that I go into Amazon, what's the first thing I look at? I search for a name and then I look for the likes. Who likes it? How many stars did they get? Give me a rundown of why you like it or why you don't like it. And sometimes, I'll get a product that, it only has like 3.5 stars because I'm looking at it and they're like, oh, I just didn't really like it. The color was off. But, some of them make a difference. Like, hey, I got this in and it broke in like 3 minutes. Literally, I was opening the box. It shot out. It fell. Nobody wants to give me my money back. I can't, I can't get a hold of anybody. I'm emailing them 10 times a day. Nobody answers. The thought of being able to say, hey, this product or this, and not necessarily on the end of AMPTAB, because you're not selling your own product, but, let's say, again, Whirlpool, Climatic, whatever, they're doing their own thing, GE, and have something that says, hey, you know what? I've got some great service. It was amazing. I ordered this. It was right. And it came in exactly the way I ordered it. Or, I'm going to give them 3 stars. It was here on time, but the product's not looking that good. Came in with a scratch. I have 3 items out of 20 that came in with a dent. They said it was this and the picture looked great, but they have the filters on, get it and saying, oh God, shit, send that one back. I'm not going out with that one. So, just saying, from a thought process, if you guys can do it, I'm just saying, if you can add some stars on there or a likes, a thumbs up, because Netflix doesn't like anybody saying they don't like it, but thumbs up, thumbs down, and a little comment about what the product has. I don't know, just a thought process there. That one is a free of charge. I just want you to know that. I would not charge
like
you for that.
We are on our way there. We do have a filter for most purchased already. So that's available. It's one of those things where that's an amazing idea. We would definitely implement it, but it'd probably be a case-by-case basis on something a vendor would have to opt into. Because I'm sure there's some vendors out there like, I don't really want to have bad reviews on my products.
No, listen, I 100%. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. The only reason I say this, because, if in my thought process is, if you're bold enough to put 5 scooters next to it, I'm going just referencing point, and you're going to be one of the 5, that they're going to look at everybody's specs. They're going to look at how long it lasts. They're going to look at the battery life. They're going to look at the build. They're going to look at the warranty and say, well, you're only offering 6 months. These guys are offering a year. How long does it take to get in? If I order this today and it takes 2 weeks, but this guy might be a little bit more, but I'm getting it tomorrow, I get that sale. Because if my customer's waiting 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever the case is, they might not be interested then, right? I might get that down payment. They'll come back. Look, I ain't got it. It's been a week. Give me my money back. I'm gonna get it somewhere else. Tire life. Do the brakes actually stop the vehicle, right? And so my thought is, if you're going to do that, I would like to see that up the game, right? If you have something that's coming in and is constantly getting 1 and 2 stars, maybe that means you pull it off the shelf and make sure you get a better product out there. Maybe it's a way to tell other dealers, hey man, this sells really good, but be careful on the warranty end. Or it has a great warranty, like, certain things have great warranties because they have a tendency of falling apart, right? So, just a thought process out there. Again, that was my 2 cents. But
if you don't have
if it works, it works.
I'm not buying it. So
right, yeah. This got 1 review in 10 years. I'm not buying that, bro. Nobody's bought this. I'm not buying it. But, coming into the end, I mean, I always want to know, can we get this right for the RTO dealers? How do we make this right for the RTO space? If an RTO dealer is listening right now, which they will be, and they're interested, what's the first step? How do they reach out? What does getting started look like with AMPTAB?
Yeah, you just got to shoot us an email. You can visit our website, amptab.com. Our email and phone number right there on the screen. Also a contact us button. That'll go to our support desk where our whole team is watching, and you get routed to me or one of the other members of the team, and we jump on a Zoom call like this. We never just blanket statement, here's what it costs to sign up. We want to talk first. We want to see what are your goals? How do we get there? What are you working with today? Because a lot of times you don't need 95% of our platform. You have a singular goal, and that's what we aim for, and we give you an accurate quote from there.
Got a question, because I actually don't know this. Is there a customer-facing part of the program, right? I know that our dealers will go in and they'll buy and they'll look at it and say, these are the lead times, this is how long it takes to get here, this is how much it costs. If I bundle it together, I get 6, I get whatever the case is. Is there a customer-facing side of that where we can possibly hit a button or hit a setting where it doesn't show our pricing, in the sense that, everybody buys wholesale and sells it for whatever they have to make their margins. But a customer facing, say, I can turn that off and I can give it to my customer, and they can literally go through the whole AMPTAB, I guess, whatever that dealer has allowed to show, and go, I like this, I like this, I like this, without actually placing the order. Maybe they hit something that goes into a checkout or whatever the case is, and then the dealer gets that. Is that something that's available?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you tap on your cart, there's a no price option. So you can hide all the pricing information, or you can take it a step further and switch it to an MSRP price or a marked up retail price if there are numbers you want to display. Okay. But it's all available to you right in the program.
I was trying for another idea, but he got me. No, that's great. So last question, and I wanted to just, if an RTO dealer could only do one thing differently after hearing this conversation, what would it be?
Well, if you're not doing it already, give your feedback. And I'm being sincere. Our entire platform was built on client feedback. Every box, every widget you see on there, it came from one of our users. It really did. And it's something that we actually spend most of our time doing. I know at least my time doing is we have many different user types with different goals. They sell different kinds of products, and I'm a sales rep, or I'm an admin in the office, or I'm running a retail store, and we're all using the same website or app. So all these different perspectives and goals. So we have a long list of things that we want to do and get to, and it's made the platform as great as it is today by just working through those conversations together. So if you're ever confused or frustrated, talk to us. We may have 10 different ways to solve that frustration already. And if it doesn't exist, we'll build it for you.
Okay. So then if that's the case, how would they get you feedback? Is there like feedback at amptab.com? How do they get it to you so that they know they're getting it to the right people that are going to dial in and try to take care of it? Yeah.
Right on our website, that contact us button, again, will go to our entire team. I know that sounds like a marketing thing, but it's true. We all have logins to the same inbox through our support ticketing system. So if you reach out from our website, you'll have attention of all of us here. And then we'll respond to you Monday through Friday on the West Coast time with thank you for your feedback. We've got it captured for you. We'll keep you updated as we make progress, or, it got greenlit. It'll be ready for you in a month. And
I like that. Sounds like you're ready to go. Well, listen, guys, I would tell you, if you don't have AMPTAB, give it a try. Check it out. I can't tell you that they're going to have the stars on there just yet, but if they do, it was this guy right here. I would tell you guys, I appreciate you stopping in today. Make sure that you go to the website. Again, it's www.thertoshowpodcast.com. Buy some swag, subscribe to the newsletter. You're going to see this everywhere you want to be, on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, YouTube, where you're going to see this. And I'm going to tell you guys, I appreciate it. Mike Costa, I'm glad that you were here. I'm glad that you talked to us about AMPTAB and told us a lot of things that I really didn't know, kind of get into the little bit of nitty gritty. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I'm going to tell you guys, as always, get your collections low to get your sales high. Have a great one.